Hey guys, just giving another weekly update on the second half of my stocks. Stock market basically didn't do anything again today, so the Dow was down 10 points, and when the Dow is 26,526 points, being down just 10 points is basically the equivalent of doing nothing. So my portfolio actually was up about $75 today, which isn't too terrible. And now I think I understand why the stock market isn't really doing anything. We're just kind of patiently waiting for the US and China trade talks at the G20 summit that will happen starting on Friday. So keep an eye out on the stock market because it's going to be very volatile based on how the news breaks this weekend on the actual trade talks between Donald Trump and the president of China. There was also a poor jobs report in the month of May, and if that continues in June, lower consumer sentiment and spending can cause a lower GDP growth. So those are all important things to take into consideration for the short-term mindset of stock market investing. As always, guys, be sure to like this video. Let me know what you guys are thinking in the comments about the market and how you think these trade war talks will happen. And be sure to subscribe to continue watching my updates. So in the last day, I'm up $75. Past week, I'm actually down $97. And in the last month, I am up almost $300. So not too terrible there. Could do better. Of course, have been paid very nicely in dividends in the month of June. That's one of my bigger months in collecting of dividends. So I will be making a video next week on all the lovely dividends I got paid in the month of June. So when we get into the actual portfolio here, you can see that Boeing is down almost 3% today, and that's actually because Boeing, they found that there was another issue, and this time it's with the software on their grounded 737 MAX Force jets. So just when I thought that they had put all their troubles behind them, it looks like their problems are going to continue. So I will continue to hold Boeing for the long term, but I don't think it's going to go back up anytime soon. So then we also have 3M here. It looks like it's kind of stagnant at this 170 area. I don't think it's going to go down any lower than this. Very nice stock here, Dividend, Aristocrat. Now, since I went over these stocks earlier in the week, I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Southern Company there. UNH, let me just comment on this one. I watched both of the Democratic debates these past 2 days, and let me just say, after watching those, I don't think we have to worry about any single-payer tax or single-payer healthcare system happening anytime soon. I just didn't think that there was any realistic plan that any of the candidates gave on exactly how they were going to be able to fund this, because it's going to cost close to trillions of dollars. So I think UNH is safe for the time being, and I think that's being represented with this small growth here today. And then we have Starbucks, JP Morgan, FedEx. FedEx looks like it's actually went up for once. Otter Tails, and then AbbVie. Now, as soon as I put out my last video earlier in the week where I talked about my stocks, AbbVie just completely collapsed. If you look and see right here, it fell from about 78 mark to 67. So that's a 15% drop. And that's not because everyone just randomly gave up on AbbVie at the same time. It's because AbbVie announced that they would acquire another drug company. This time it's the makers of Botox and then all of its other products for $63 billion. So that's a huge acquisition. We'll see how that fares for AbbVie, but stock investors were not happy. Stock fell. And AbbVie had already been paying a pretty ridiculous dividend, close to 6%. Now it actually went over that 6% mark. Looks like the actual capital appreciation went up a little bit there. But AbbVie, I had been a long-term holder of this, probably one of my worst positions so far. I bought it at all-time highs, and then it just collapsed. Now, a lot of this is because AbbVie gets 57% of their revenues from one product called Humira, which is going to be losing its patents in early 2020 in the US and the rest of Europe. So after this little acquisition, they're going to acquire some other products that they can sell, and Humira will now only make up about 40% of its profits. AbbVie also doesn't have the strongest balance sheet just to begin with. Its total assets at the end of 2018 were $59 billion compared to liabilities of $68 billion. So that's never something you want to see. However, AbbVie has been paying dividends very consistently here. Basically, it used to be a company called Abbott Laboratories, which is a dividend aristocrat of 46 straight years of paying and increasing its dividend. So AbbVie kind of continues on that legacy. It only pays about 50% of its earnings in dividends, and it has been really increasing its dividend a lot in the past. If I filter out my dividends, you can see just how much it's grown. It's pretty crazy, from 96 cents a share to now it's 107. That's a pretty substantial increase. We'll see if AbbVie can continue doing that in the future. I don't know if I'm going to personally add any more of this stock, but if I didn't hold any other shares, I would definitely try to get in at this price. So then we also have Pepsi. Intel looks like it took a beating today. Verizon, Store Capital, and then Microsoft, I believe, is where we left off earlier in the week. So let's get into the newer stocks. Medical Properties Trust looks like it had a pretty big day here today. Still down 7% in the last month, which kind of wipes out all the return that I had before in this stock, as I think it was hovering around the 20 mark at one point or another. But we'll see what's happening with this stock and if it could continue there. If anything, this might be a good buying opportunity. Stock pays close to a 7% dividend, which is pretty crazy for an industry that we're always going to need in terms of renting out the real estate so that medical companies can exist on its premise. So then we also have Iron Mountain. Looks like this stock has just been getting really wrecked here in the last 3 months, down almost 14%. Basically, if you're getting paid a 7% dividend and the capital appreciation is negative 14, you're not really making any money there. So ExxonMobil, price of gas seems to have gone lower, just as a general observation of mine, but ExxonMobil about stagnant there. Chubb, one of the newer additions to my portfolio, down slightly on this position. MasterCard, now you might notice that I now own 2 shares, and that's because I bought another one. I know I probably didn't get it at the best price, but this is really an industry I believe in the long run here. So in the past 5 years, it's up 255%, and I believe they have tremendous growth ahead of them. Lots of the world doesn't even use credit cards yet, and that's crazy because I use mine for almost all my transactions, and MasterCard or Visa is getting a little bit of that transaction as residual income every single time you use it. So I got my latest for $262, but I can definitely sleep well knowing I own MasterCard stock. My 2 railroad stocks have not done much here. Looks like they are about the same as usual. Realty Income, $69.42 for my 2 shares that I own of them. 38% return, not bad. Pays a monthly dividend of 22 cents a share. Then MasterCard's counterpart here, Visa, its main rival, but again, I own both of these companies. Can sleep very well knowing I own these. I definitely see tremendous growth in their future here. Facebook, I was surprised how much this stock has went up in the last 3 months, almost over 14% back up on this position. Very volatile stock. Apple, almost close to breaking that $200 barrier again. I think it fell under the $1 trillion market cap. Looks like it's down to 920. We'll see if Apple can return to its all-time highs here and past that $1 trillion market cap again. Equinix back to almost $500. I'm up pretty big on this position, $24 in a short amount of time. Also pays a pretty nice dividend. And then we also have 2 shares of Disney. Recently bought another share of this. See big earnings coming, a lot of big movies and entertainment that Disney provides. We'll see how Disney does in the future. So be sure to look out for my video that I'm going to be putting out on the dividends I received in the month of June. Let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see in my portfolio, and be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a comment.